Customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. In this week's episode, John discusses how to make your customer experience training more fun and effective. Your customer experience strategy is worthless if you haven't ensured that it's understood and executed by every new and existing team member. Just because your employees were in attendance for your customer service training doesn't mean that they've retained everything that was launched. There must be a certification component. It's important to test each employee to make sure that they've learned and retained the information that was taught. Now, there are many ways that you can do this, and in this episode, you'll hear about some of John's favorites, including how to gamify it, making it a competition between teams, departments, or locations. Not only does it become a fun team-building activity, but the employees then retain the information better, too. Now here's your host, John DiJulius.
Hello, revolutionaries, and welcome to another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. This is John DiJulius, Chief Revolution Officer of the DiJulius Group, and your host. And this week's episode is how to make your customer experience training more fun and effective. The Customer Experience Olympics. We have in the show notes a link to Olympic that one of our clients, New Day USA, a mortgage company serving veterans, had their teams compete against each other on different components of their customer experience training they had all just received. The training was on the customer service vision statement, 3 pillars, their nevers and always, non-negotiable standards, and the company's core value. When you watch this video, you can just feel the energy and the excitement they had during those contests. Your customer experience strategy is worthless without ensuring it is retained and executed by every existing and new team member. I recently had an episode on the Customer Service Revolution podcast titled The 6 Steps to Launch a Successful Customer Service Initiative That Lasts. Okay, go back and listen to that. But the one I want to focus on today is number 3, where you certify it. Once you've created an outstanding customer experience initiative, for example, the customer service action statement, your nevers and always, your non-negotiable standards in each part of your customer journey, the 5 E's, Forward, or your zero risk service recovery process. Now it's time to certify their retention of the training you just gave them. Just because your employees were in attendance for your customer service training or watched the presentation online doesn't mean they retained everything that was launched. There must be a certification component. It is important to test each employee to make sure they learned and retained the information that was taught and launched. There are many ways you can do this. One of my favorite ways is gamifying it, making it a competition between teams, departments, or locations. This makes it fun and an incredible team-building activity. Best of all, employees retain the information.
Are you still guessing at ways to improve your customer satisfaction scores? Or how to hire and keep the best talent? Stop guessing and become knowledgeable. Join the Customer Experience Executive Academy and learn what the world-class companies already know. At the Customer Experience Executive Academy, you'll learn the methodology applied by world-class companies to create consistent, memorable moments that lead to happy customers and happy employees. Visit cxea.org or contact Claudia at thedijuliusgroup.com for more information on how to enroll.
So one of the best customer service certification programs came from one of our best clients, Advanced Financial. And they hold, and a lot of companies hold, the Customer Experience Training Olympics, which can result in teams, departments going head to head to see who scores the most, gets the most answers, or finishes with getting the correct answers. The more hype you have leading up to the competition, the more exciting it is. This also gets employees to prepare and study more because they do not want to be the ones that lets their team, departments, or locations down. Advanced Financial, with over 100 locations throughout Tennessee, has one of the best customer certification programs of anyone we've ever worked with. Upon completion of their customer service orientation training, each employee must play games like the Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, word search, crossword puzzle, and memory match. Okay. And these all have to do with their customer service vision, their non-negotiable standards, their nevers and always, their 3 pillars. We are supplying the link in this podcast show notes that you can watch a video of what this looks like that Advanced Financial does. Whether you are launching a new customer experience strategy, or need to revisit and reinvigorate some existing customer service training, it is vital to add a customer service certification component. You do this by applying typical elements of games playing that will not only have a dramatic increase in retention of customer service training content, but also a great fun team building exercise for your team that will help your organizations exceed customers' expectations and increase customer loyalty. I want to thank all of you revolutionaries for joining me for another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. And if you are enjoying us, please go online, rate, review, download, share, tell people about it. Okay, we will see you next week on the Customer Service Revolution podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. Did you enjoy this episode? Consider leaving us a review. We value your feedback and love to hear how you're using the podcast in your organization. To hear more, be sure to subscribe now on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for being part of the Customer Service Revolution.